welcome to Juice Bar. Today we're gonna mix a tea and rum cocktail. So a few days ago I saw on Instagram Rob Ballas. He posted about a cocktail called Double Indemnity. And I was like, Double Indemnity? Great recipe. The title is the title of a classic Billy Wilder movie from the 1940s. That's a great chance to both watch the movie and make the cocktail. So I went and watched Double Indemnity, one of the premier film noir written by Billy Wilder together with Raymond Chandler. It's a great movie. I'm going to talk about it a bit more later. But while watching it, there is a scene where our main protagonist visits the house of the femme fatale, the lady played by Barbara Stanwyck, and because she arranged the thing to have nobody home, so there is no maid, and the only thing available is iced tea. But I ask, can I add some rum to this iced tea? I guess to make it more palatable, and that sparked my idea. Let's make a cocktail using iced tea and rum. So, there you go. Let me propose you this recipe I just developed. And first of all, we are gonna need to make some hot tea. We are gonna start with some hot tea because that's gonna help the cocktail. When we shake it, it's gonna make the nice foam that you have when you shake hot stuff like tea or coffee together with really cold ice. In the meanwhile, while we boil the water, let's start mixing our ingredients. And let's start with 2 dishes of malt bitters. These are made quite some time ago using a recipe from Serious Eats. Then we go on with 22.5 milliliter or 3/4 of an ounce of sweet vermouth. This is all the sweet stuff we have in this cocktail is this, just the sweet vermouth. And we finish with 60 milliliters or 2 ounces of rum. I'm using today this original dark rum from Plantation. I guess I'm looking for some molasses flavor and stuff like that. And this dark rum should deliver that. Also, this is gonna be a pretty strong cocktail as it is, so I suggest not going for overproof rum or anything like that. This is just 40% ABV and I think it's gonna be just fine. So while we wait for the water to boil and then brewing the tea, let me tell you something about Double Indemnity, the movie. I realized I never saw it before. It's one of the first true classic film noir. As I say, it was written by Raymond Chandler together with Billy Wilder. Billy Wilder, master of screenplays, wrote some of the best screenplays in all of history. I'm using some Ceylon Dimbula thanks to Hiroe, a family friend. She gave us this nice tea from Sri Lanka. And while we are gonna need something like 60 milliliters of tea for our cocktail, I'm just gonna brew a normal amount, like 200 milliliters. So as I was saying, Billy Wilder, master of screenplays, but he got to cooperate with Raymond Chandler. And I knew their relationship was strained. They didn't really see eye to eye, but I read on the Cameron Crowe book about Billy Wilder. Besides the many problems they had, because of course they were pretty stubborn people, both of them. Raymond Chandler was a recovering alcoholic. Billy Wilder was not an alcoholic, but heavy drinker. Anyway, Billy Wilder said that Raymond Chandler didn't know how to write dialogue. So what he ended up doing is getting all the Raymond Chandler dialogue and putting it to a nice structure, which of course Billy Wilder was master at. The movie is noir. It features one of the most fatal femme fatale ever. And in this movie, As usual, Billy Wilder talks about marital infidelity, which seems to be his main topic. He's always been concerned about murder, insurance, all while pushing the boundaries on what was allowed to show at that time. He really goes hard on some topics that were really taboo at the time, and he has done that throughout his career, always playing within what the studios would eventually allow him to do, but always going to the edge. In fact, Double Indemnity was considered a really scandalous film at the time. Anyway, people liked it. I think he got nominated for several Oscars, and it's a great movie. And then we are gonna need 60 milliliters of this tea. I'm using this container so to not burn my fingers. And after I pour it, let's go for a shake. Let's get some ice and let's give it a vigorous shake. And then let's double strain in a Collins glass with ice. You could single strain, but I don't know, I'm really sensitive to those sharp ice speckles in my cocktails. And there you go, I would like to call this cocktail a mid-afternoon confession. I will explain the meaning of the name later. Cheers. Nice, intense, not sweet. I would describe this almost as an Hemingway-esque drink. Really low in sugar, tough. Yes, the nice spiciness of the malt bitters and the slight chocolate flavor that complements perfectly the dark rum. The tea gives tannins and a bit of dilution to the whole thing. And as I said, the only sweet touch is the sweet vermouth. So this is not sweet at all. This is an excellent drink for a hot afternoon, but only if you can hold your alcohol well, which I think Raymond Chandler characters could do quite easily. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, subscribe, comment down below, share with anybody you like and don't like. Shake yourself a iced tea cocktail, and hopefully I will see you next time. Cheers. So why I call this the mid-afternoon confession? Well, the movie is called Double Indemnity, but the name was already taken by another cocktail. So I thought, what about the translations of the title in Italian or Japanese? In Italian it's called La Fiamma del Peccato, which means the flame of sin. I don't know, doesn't quite match this cocktail. While in Japanese it's called Shinya no Kokohaku, which means late night confession. So why it's mid-afternoon? Because with the tea, it's not quite a late night confession, this cocktail. It's more a mid-afternoon confession. I think it matches the cocktail quite well. This title, by the way, interesting facts, they used to translate all the titles of movies into Japanese, of course. They still do to a lesser extent, and they did that also in Italian. What they didn't do in Italy, that they did in Japan instead, is to translate also the name of classic rock albums, which is quite funny actually. For example, The Number of the Beast was called in Japanese Marioku no Kokuin, which here it tells me translates back to English as Magical Cell. Judas Priest's Sin After Sin was called Haishin no Mon, the Gate of Betrayal, while Bruce Springsteen's Born to Run was called Hashtanaki Boso, which means run away with no tomorrow. That's Japanese album title translations for you.